Alright, welcome everyone to Zenith Online Racing. This is the EU Tier 1 Round 18 at Japan, Suzuka. So, got 16 drivers. Looks like we'll have a dry quali, which is excellent. And yeah, the championship here in the EU tier is really heating up with just a few rounds left. I was looking at the standings before we went live, and we have a three-way tie for second place, and fifth place is only 7 points off of those drivers. So we've got 4 drivers, all of which are going to feel like they are fighting for second place in this championship. And still in with a shot at first place as well, so a really tight battle. Every round is going to count. And we have the added bonus of one of the most challenging but rewarding circuits to drive in Suzuka this week. So looks like JXW is the first out on an out lap. Let's go ahead and get the telemetry and all that good stuff up there. It looks like, yep, he's the first, so we will follow along with him. Just checking out a couple things. But yeah, looks like JXW is going to be the first one on an out lap right now. He's on the mediums. Strategy here, pretty easy to qualify in the softs and go from there. So I imagine that's what we'll see most drivers qualify on. I'm hoping we'll have a dry race. No one has complained in the chat that there's that there's rain at any point during the race. I feel like there's normally people who, if there's any threat of rain, someone's complaining about it in the chat. So no news is good news on the wet weather front. But we have JXW preparing for the first 2 corners. Really challenging, as there's a yellow flag in sector 3 for people slowing down. The S is taking a lot of this in 5th gear, trying to keep the minimum speed up around each of these corners. One of the most challenging corners on the entire circuit, if you ask me. I think Dunlop is just very challenging, as Miami 5 has been disqualified from the session for blocking the pit lane. The same thing happened to my teammate Doff on Monday, as he was slowing down trying to let someone through. So the pit lane exit at Suzuka, striking twice in Zenith Online Racing. As JXW has gone through the very challenging hairpin, one of the most difficult traction zones as he's approaching Spoon. It's kind of double left-hander. Careful there on the outside curve. That can break traction as he breaks traction there on the exit. And a great job to save it and just keep the car out of the wall. He also will be happy that he's on medium tires and not on... Didn't ruin a set of softs just then, as we have another driver struggling at the hairpin. So a little bit of some people trying to get their feet under them as we start, and Beck goes fastest overall with a 127.667, first driver to set a time. JXW, we know that time is not representative, as we saw the moment he had. Larkin looking pretty good. Zwiedema is just going to go ahead and smash that provisional pole time. He goes 126.2. Zamaglis, who's one of those drivers in the fight for P2 in the championship, with a 127.0. Larkin slowing down there, maybe conserving some of his pace. He sets a 128.4, but he's clearly had more in the tank there. He looks like he slowed down a little bit. Barton on a lap right now is invalid. Fuzz is on a flying lap right now. Let's see what time he's going to get as he crosses the line, and he goes P3 with a 127.218. So pretty solid banker lap from him. Let's see what Bag of Bones is able to do. I mean, he's approaching 130R now. Going to be braking for the chicane, and then trying to be as careful as he can on traction. Thankfully, no bump in this year's game to throw off the traction around the final corner, and he goes P4 with a 127.355. So solid lap from him. We've got some what will look like be a really solid battle for the second and third row of this grid as California, or no, sorry, that's not California, that's one of the Alfa Romeos just getting out of the way of some people and disqualified from the session for some reason. That looked a little odd. Not quite sure what happened there, but we have 2 disqualifications and we've only been qualifying for about 6 minutes. So let's see what Zenith's able to do. He looks like he's going to outlap. Doesn't say outlap. Trying to spend anybody who's on a flying lap right now. It doesn't look like anybody has got their engine turned up at the moment. So as we have some sort of first time set by a lot of these drivers, you'll notice we're missing one of those drivers who's fighting for the championship lead, and that is Excel J. Cole. Is not here today. He's one of those drivers tagged for P2, so that could affect his championship, as we'll see how important each of these final rounds is going to be. We'll follow along with Heron, who's good for a qualifying performance. Doesn't have a time set yet, and we'll be eager to see where he can slot in. Ooh, loses the backer there a little bit through Dunlop. That was scary. He did a good job to save it. The car there, if you are not careful, can just absolutely snap on you and send you spinning sometimes into the wall in the session. So very good job from him to save it there. Still looks pretty solid on his lap so far. One thing I did want to mention. Sorry. I was going to say, I thought Zamoglis did his lap on the softs. He did, but he's got the mediums fitted right now. But yeah, Heron looks pretty good on this lap so far. Just going to pull up and see. Noticed a couple comments come in, so as we're having him go on, let's see what those said. Yeah, it definitely is a small field. A couple of key people from the championship battle missing as well, as Heron goes P2. So puts his Alfa Romeo on the front row with a 126.956. It's still a long way off Sweet Demo for provisional pole, but he is on the front row, which is all that matters right now. If you're not going to be first, second is a very nice backup. As Zamoglis is going onto the grass, into the gravel, keeping it out of the wall though, but just goes to show you how tricky that corner can be, as we've seen now. P2 and P3 drivers struggling. So we also know Heron has a little bit of time in hand because of that mistake he made through Dunlop. Beck now on a flying lap. Let's see what he's able to do as he's coming now out of spoon. Looks pretty tidy through there until he gets into the grass and just about saves it. Oh my goodness. As he's lost an end plate and almost threw off the Mercedes lap. I think that's Zamoglis, though, whose lap was already ruined. Nope, that must have been Zenith, but looks like it might have been an outlap. So Beck struggling a little bit. Let's see who else is on a lap right now. Looks like Larkin is coming up. He's down on his time right now. It's still going to be a long way off where he needs to be, but we know he did slow quite a bit through the third sector. Let's see what he's able to do now. Going into the pits. So he's saving his little bit of time. California now coming through on an outlap. RC is going. kinds of traffic. RC trying to get any sort of slipstream he can as the two Haas drivers on the back straight now. Coming through 130R, looks pretty tidy, keeping on a short line, braking well for the chicane. Looks like he was able to get on the traction pretty well. He'll probably be pretty pleased with his lap time, and he goes P2. So, yeah, I think he'll be very pleased with that lap time. As RC with a really solid lap going 126.884. And now there's a little bit of traffic going through the first corner. There's quite a few drivers there. Looks like a racing point ahead of RC and a Haas behind and a Haas in front, and all sorts of traffic going on. And RC going into the gravel. So let's see what else is going on down the field. As Dylan is looking like he's on an in-lap after he set a time of 127.0. His teammate and championship leader, Miami, not racing today. So we have two of the drivers right at the top of the field. Or Miami was disqualified, sorry. Miami is here, but got disqualified. My apologies. But yeah, that's just really throwing a wrench into things. Because Miami's not going to keep starting from the back, and we're missing J. Cole and all kinds of stuff. So, bag of bones coming through the chicane now. Let's see what he's able to do. He goes P6. That's a solid lap from him. He gained almost 2/10 on his previous time. You should have enough time for one more run as well. Beck looks like he's on an out lap. Larkin in the pits. Jimmett down a lot on his time, but it was not very representative. That'll put him still towards the back of the grid at the moment. Let's see what he's able to do on these mediums, though, as he's approaching the final couple of corners. Nice and aggressive over the curves there, taking a short run, and he goes P9, so he improves by 14 seconds, but still is just sort of on the tail end of the top 10. Yellow flag because of somebody going slow. California looks like he might be on an in-lap. Larkin's still in the pits. We know he's got a little bit of time in hand. Barton on the flying lap right now doesn't have a time set yet, so he's going to be really pushing to get a time now, and he might, just might have enough time to get back around and do another run as well. It'll be really tight, so he's going to have to pretty much right now decide if this lap is worth finishing or if he's going to come into the pits and take one more run. It's the tricky thing, is he gets a little bit of a lock up there through the chicane. A little bit of a bobble there on traction, but he's going to take a short run to the line, and he does a very good job with a 126.333, so quite the battle for P2 at the moment, but still no one able to touch Videma, who is still on provisional pole with a 126.0, but a really, really good lap from Barton, a really good lap from Beck, and from RC as well. It's an Alpha Tauri second row lockout at the moment. I'm sure they would both be really pleased if it stays that way. Heron will try and spoil their party by improving on his time. Only a 10th off RC, less than a 10th off RC, but about half a second off of Beck. Zamaglis, I imagine, will be trying to hustle and get one more lap in. Jinnit will probably, looks like he's in low fuel mode right now, but he will probably, based off of where he is, be able to get one more run. Just whether or not he'll want to or not. Ooh, he's cutting a little bit of the track there. Pretty sure that's against the rules, but I guess that'll be for the stewards to decide later on. Let's see, we got Larkin on an out lap. Looks like Barton and Beck are both on. Looks like Barton's on another flyer, or he's just on an in lap. He's going slowly. Let's follow along with Heron as he starts his lap, and I'm going to check a couple of comments real quick. Yeah, RC's looking solid right now. Really good time. Heron through Sector 1 does a pretty good job. Don't see that same bobble that we saw through Dunlop last time, and that's reflected in the time that he is gaining, almost 3/10. So you can tell just how much that bobble cost him on his last flying lap. So he goes through the hairpin right now, does turned the engine down. I don't know if that was on purpose or what, but turned the ERS out of hot lap, so I don't know exactly what's going on. He might be preparing for a second lap. I'm not too sure. I don't think he has time to come back into the pits and get out again. Looks like he's still carrying on, and he's almost a half a second down, so right now this will put him just off of, he'll be splitting the Alpha Towers. Let's see what he's able to do through the final chicane. A little bit of a wobble there on traction. That might have cost him a little bit of time, and he goes P3. So he sets a 126.413 just ahead of Beck. Pushes RC to the third row. We got a lot of drivers on outlaps right now. Larkin is on a flying lap, and he is down on his fastest time right now. He is fitted the medium tires right now. Could be the reason why he chose to slow earlier when we saw him on the softs. Didn't want to have that time to beat, but right now he's not on course to beat his time. Yeah, you'd think where he is in the championship battle and what we know about the strategy around here that he would be going for the softs, but he's going for the mediums. Still not down. We know there's a lot of time through the third sector though, so let's see what he's able to accomplish. How late and brave on the brakes is he going to be? Pretty good. Goes in a little bit deep. Maybe could have taken a little bit more curve on the left, but he's going flat out to the line this time and goes P5 with a 126.5. So he maybe, if he would have had the softs, had the pace to challenge through demo, but I guess we won't know. And he will settle for P5 at the moment. That's going to push RC, who's spun on his lap, down to P6. RC not going to be able to start a meaningful lap in time. He's just going to have to be content with P6 at the moment. Let's see what Zuidema is doing. He's down by almost a tenth. I thought I saw somebody in the gravel, but maybe that was just a weird camera angle. Looks like Heron set across the line, doesn't improve. Barton is just beginning his lap, so we'll check in on that. Let's see what Zuidema is able to do through the final chicane, being nice and aggressive, keeping it just within track limits. Does a good job getting on the traction as he heads down to the line, and he's going to not improve, but still hold on to provisional pole. Barton has invalidated his lap. Larkin, we know, is finished. JXW is going to go ahead of RC by on about 7/100ths of a second. Zamoglis on a flying lap right now, kicks up a little bit of dirt as he rounds the final corner and goes P6. Dylan, big lock up there through Spoon, and looks like he was trying to get out of the way of maybe Jinnit behind. Bag of Bones still on a flying lap and set to improve by about half a second. Maybe thinking about challenging JXW or Zamoglis for P6. Let's see where he crosses the line, and he does go P6, getting just ahead of Zamoglis. Jinnit on the softs has improved by about 8/10, but I don't think that's going to be enough to put him inside the top 10. I was wrong. He goes P7 just ahead of his teammate. My quick math was off. Larkin's dived into the pits. Dylan's in the pits. I think that is everyone across the line. Looks like it is. So it looks like everyone has either crossed the line or gone back into the pits, and Zuidema, with his early time of a 126.0, is going to hold on to pole position. So he's right where he wants to be as he fights for first place in the championship standings. He is one of those drivers that's tied for P2 at the moment. So if he wants to separate himself from those drivers and maybe even challenge Miami for first place overall, he's done exactly what he needs to do to achieve that. So good pole position from Zuidema. He set that time early in the session, and it really held. So congratulations to him. We have Barton in P2 with a really, really competitive lap. Heron in P3, Beck in P4, Larkin in P5, crucially on the medium tires. Bag of Bones is in P6. It is a Mercedes, what's that, fourth row lockout with Jinnit just ahead of Zamoglis, with the gap being just about a tenth and a half. JXW and RC rounding out the top 10. Dylan in 11th, Fuzz in 12th, California in 13th. Segrist not setting a time. Siku, I don't know how to pronounce that driver's name, and Miami each being disqualified. Unclear as to why those two were disqualified, but they were. I'm sure we'll find out later on, but just going to check and make sure I didn't miss any comments. Don't believe so. Looks like we will have a dry race today, which I'm sure a lot of these drivers are going to be quite happy about. I've mentioned the championship standings quite a few times, so I'll go ahead and just run through those really quick. Miami 5 is our current championship leader. He is on 169 points. J. Cole, Larkin, and Zuidema all tied for second on 145 points. So they're just about one race victory behind Miami. Zamoglis not out of the fight either. He's on 138 points. Looking down some other tight battles, we have Adri and JXW. Adri's not racing tonight. But from California in 10th to JXW in 13th, it goes California in 10th on 71 points, Bag of Bones in 11th on 70 points, Adri in 12th on 68 points, and JXW Gaming in 13th on 67 points. So just 4 points separating 4 drivers. Yeah, for a spot in the top 10, they might not be battling for a championship victory, but I'm sure for a lot of those drivers, P10 is going to feel much different than P14 or P13. So a really tight battle there as well. Then yeah, we have another handful of drivers who are about 15-ish points apart. But yeah, the fact that we've got 3 drivers all tied for second, and then 1 driver just 7 points behind him, it is just goes to show how competitive this tier is, and just why it produces such great racing week in and week out. So don't expect anything different here. Suzuka can be a track where it's very difficult to overtake. Can be very, very difficult to overtake here. And so we might see some drivers pulling some risky moves, some dives into the hairpin, trying to run on the outside of turn 1. You got to be brave to overtake here. And if watching EU tier week in, week out has taught me anything, it's that these drivers will take those risks. So we will follow along with Zuidema. Let's get the position change and interval gap all set up. Yeah, expect a pretty exciting race. Like I said, overtaking here is really difficult, so people will have to be brave, take some risks, and what that means for us is we'll probably have quite a bit of exciting racing to watch. So 27 laps around Suzuka coming up, and hopefully they're all dry laps, but Suzuka can always throw up some rain or some safety car to shake things up. But yeah, getting very excited to watch this one, and I'm sure it will at least be a lot more interesting than the real-life season finale earlier today that was a little bit of a snooze fest. Hopefully this one will fill all of our desire for some close racing. So we've got 5 red lights on. And it is lights out, and away we go here at Suzuka for round 18. Zuidema getting a very good start. Looking down the field, it looks like Zamaglis has got a very, very strong start up into P6. We have a yellow flag looking down, and we have Miami out of the race already. Zamaglis has turned around. Miami has retired from the race. I'm not sure what happened with him. It didn't look like he even made it to turn 1. We have all kinds of penalties thrown up. We have Zamaglis losing 7 positions. RC has lost 2 positions. Fuzz has lost a position, or Fuzz has gained. California has gained. Dylan has gained. JXW has gained. But yeah, it looks like there might have been some incident with Miami and Zamaglis. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Just as I was saying, Zamaglis got a great start. The yellow flag came out, and that was it. So we have a full safety car here on lap 1. Really before we even got to corner 1. For some drivers lower down the field or outside the top 10, this might be a time. The hard tires will... This is one of those tracks where the hard tires are just maybe a lap or 2 short from being comfortable from lap 1 safety car to the end. The hard tires can probably do about 22 to 24 flying laps if you really, really are careful on them. And with the laps around the safety car, we could potentially see someone like RC or someone like JXW take a bit of a risk and go on to the hard tires now, get that pit stop out of the way, and just run those tires to the end. Be really interested to see if anyone takes that risk. It doesn't look like anyone is going to yet. We have just our normal timing glitch that will get worked out, but looks like California has come into the pits. Let's get the tire information up so we can see what tires they're going to. Looks like he's serving a penalty. Fuzz going to the medium tires, so he's going to need to make another pit stop. Jinnick going to the medium tires. And Segrist going to the mediums as well, and maybe serving a penalty. Yeah, we've got some bag of bones with a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Larkin, I think. All kinds of penalties and people dropped, and trying to figure out exactly what's happening, but no one taking the risk to go to the hard tires, which I'm a bit surprised by. I would have really expected someone who was maybe on the outskirts of getting some points to take the risk, go to the hard tires, as we have a driver off into the gravel. And it looks like he's still in it, but yeah, wow. All kinds of things happening up and down the field here. Let's see. Bag of bones with 15 seconds in penalties. I wonder why. Maybe a severe corner cut? I have no idea. I totally lost. This is where we really need a full race director. Let's see if anybody in the comments is helping me out. Yeah, just crazy lap. There's just, yeah, wow, crazy opening laps, crazy safety car period, and yeah, I just will say it again, I'm really surprised no one has gone to the hards. I'm really surprised even, you know, someone like California right now seems like in a great position where if he dives into the pits, he's going to be coming out last, as we have some drivers now going into the pits, so maybe they just wanted to wait a couple laps under the safety car. It looks like Bag of Bones is serving a penalty, Larkin's serving a penalty, and is going to go to the hard tires. So we just had a couple drivers who wanted to wait a lap or two to box for the hard tires, as we now have 3 drivers who are going to be trying to go from here to the end. JXW has put on those tires, Larkin has put on those tires, Bag of Bones has put on those tires, and served one of or part of his penalties. It looks like Larkin came in for the same reason, to serve that penalty and to get the hard tires on. So for JXW, for Larkin, and for Bag of Bones, they are in a race with each other now, and definitely in a race potentially for the lead of the Grand Prix once everyone makes their stops. Widema is, we know the pace he showed in qualifying, but he's going to be on those soft tires, which the safety car period will help him prolong the life of those tires, but they really have got, even with laps under the safety car, I can only imagine until about lap 10 that they're really going to feel like he can be pushing on those tires. So the interesting thing is going to be to monitor the gap between Widema in P1 and JXW in P12, and to see if Widema is going to come out ahead of or behind those drivers who boxed for the hard tires. And for everyone who pit to go onto the mediums, for California, for Fuzz, for Zenith, and for Segrist, they are going to have they're going to be praying for another safety car or a VSC to take advantage of some cheap pit stop window. Safety car with a very late call to come in. Normally I feel like they tell you before 130R, but a very, very late call. That means Widema does not have much of a decision about when he leads the field away. He's led them away now, so Beck has picked up a 5-second penalty for a severe collision. It looks like his front wing is intact. Sometimes those safety car penalties can be removed if the stewards, if it's not causing any damage to any other drivers. The game can sometimes be very harsh about the safety car restart penalties. So, but Widema has just stormed off in the lead. He's over a second ahead of Barton already. Looks like California is sizing up a move. As I said earlier, you have to be brave and you have to really go for the overtake. As that overtake was kind of handed to him, as the Alfa Romeo driver Siku lost it a little bit, and he's lost a handful of positions now as he's really struggling. That's the second time we saw him come through there. And it looks like Segrist is off into the gravel at the hairpin. I don't know if he got caught up in that. I know one of the McLarens had to weave to get out of the way of Siku. And it might have been Segrist which caused him to go into the gravel. Thankfully, we had no safety car or VSC to slow us down again. And Segrist is able to get going. It looks like he did lose an end plate, so that is going to really hurt his race. But looking up the field, Widema, very comfortable position right now, over a second and a half ahead of Barton. And he's going to be doing all he can to build that gap to make sure that he can maintain track position as much as possible. So we've got RC and Bag of Bones swapping some positions down the field. JXW reasonably close to the back of Gillette. And this is one of the, as Segrist has picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane, but this is one of those races and one of those safety cars that came out that's going to cause a really interesting race in about 5 laps time. We have all 3 tire compounds. We have drivers who started on different compounds. We have drivers who are switching to different compounds. RC looks like he's lost a big chunk of his front wing, so he's going to have to come into the pits. I would imagine he will probably put on the hard tires and run to the end. But as I was saying, this is one of those races that's going to produce some really interesting strategy in about 5 to 10 laps. Once tires start to go off, once mediums start becoming faster than softs, and hards become faster than mediums, and as the tires degrade and we have such a mix, especially on the from positions about 7 to 13, a mix of tires, it's going to be really interesting to see how those different things play out. As Bag of Bones looks like he's trying desperately to get past Siku, who we know has struggled a little bit in this Grand Prix. DRS is enabled, so that might help, but I don't think Bag of Bones will have it on this particular lap. You can see just how much he's all over the back of the Alfa Romeo driver, and looks like he's going to be able to get this move done. They're going to go wheel to wheel though. Oh, as they bump going into turn 1. Thankfully, both drivers still in it, but yeah, that's oof. If I'm Bag of Bones, I might just back off a touch, but he doesn't need to. As he just has to wait for the mistake to come. And that's honestly one of the best ways you can try and overtake around here, is just pressuring the drivers ahead of you and being right on their gearbox, so at the slightest mistake, the slightest bobble, or running off into the grass, you are there to pounce. That's really the best way to overtake around here. Is just by applying pressure to the driver in front. So we see Larkin trying to do right now to Fuzz. He's just about 3/10 behind. Fuzz is only 4/10 behind JXW. So nice battle here for what could be some really important positions later on in this race. If Larkin wants to challenge JXW, he's going to need to get by Fuzz. The more time he spends battling Fuzz, the more it allows JXW to try and build a gap. And as we said, the JXW, Larkin, Bag of Bones, all, well, not really so much Bag of Bones anymore, it's penalty, but JXW and Larkin are in a position where they could challenge for the victory here, as Fuzz is going to go ahead and get by JXW into turn 1, and now JXW is struggling and just about keeps it clean as he's defending from Larkin behind. But these two don't want to spend too much time battling, like I said, because they could be in for P1 once everyone ahead of them makes their stops. If we look at the gap to the leader, they're still well within Zwiedema's pit window. So if Zwiedema were to pit now, he would come out behind these drivers. And so if I'm Larkin or JXW, I just am trying to keep my nose clean and try to do everything I can to stay in the DRS of the drivers who are on faster tires right now, because it could be a race victory or certainly a podium. And look, Larkin is going to go ahead and dive up the inside. Not the cleanest move, as he kind of bumps side pods with JXW. Looks like he just kind of outbraked himself a little bit and wasn't able to quite leave a car's width on the outside. Thankfully, it looks like JXW was able to escape without any damage, as we have Siku going slowly again through that same corner. And I'm sure Segrist is having a little bit of a flashback to a few laps ago when he went into the gravel trap because of a very similar move. We've got Beck and Herron going side by side through the first sector, first couple corners. Beck just not wanting to back out of it yet. Herron doing a good job to stay ahead. Beck just, as I said, pressuring, turning up the heat, trying to force the driver ahead of you into a mistake, as Beck almost loses it through Dunlop there. You have to be so careful on the corner. Beck does have a penalty. I'm not sure. 5-second penalty. I believe that was for a safety car, maybe collision into the safety car or something, so he might be able to get that penalty removed. But obviously he will not be planning on that, so. Looks like Larkin might be sizing up a move on Fuzz here as they exit Spoon. JXW just doing everything he can to stay on the back of that. They got very, very close. Meanwhile, up at the front, Zwiedema has built a very nice gap, and Barton, it must be said, has built a really nice gap as well to Herron in P3, so both of those drivers really liking where they are right now, as we have Siku off again in the first sector, and Larkin going down the inside. Oof, this is very reminiscent of Alex Albon and Lando Norris going through the same corner in real life last season, and yeah, thankfully these two are able to keep it clean. JXW looks like he might be trying to sneak by too, as Larkin was able to get by Fuzz and JXW all over the back. Larkin just about able to extend that gap a little bit, as we have some lap traffic now for our leader. Remember, in Zenith Online Racing, ghosting is turned off, so lapped cars really do need to move and give space, so that time penalties and who knows what else going on in this race, but let's see if Beck is sizing up a move here, maybe into the chicane. Let's go ahead and get the telemetry turned on so we can monitor people's battery usage. Very low battery for Beck at the moment. Heron very low as well. Both of these drivers, as you can see on Heron's MFD, getting the call to come into the pits, and he's going to take it right now. So he's going to go for the undercut on the other soft runners. Beck going to be having to work really, really hard now to try to make the overcut work, and hopefully he's got a little bit left in those tires that he can push with. Herring, you can see now coming out in P11, so he's just behind, or I guess by quite a gap, but he is behind JXW, Bag of Bones, and Larkin, who all boxed for the hard tires, and I imagine will be trying to go to the end, so something to keep an eye on as the other soft runners in the top three think about pitting in the next couple laps. As Dylan has picked up a time penalty, Zuidema looks in control. He's still got about half his battery left, as does Barton. I imagine both of those drivers will need to respond here, and the question is just going to be to which tires they go to the end. If you try and go from the hards, they're going to be really, really durable, but you will lose a little bit of the outright pace. And yeah, the mediums should be able to last to the end, but it's just how comfortable do you feel trying to push those tires. We'll see what Zuidema goes for. We'll see if Barton's going to follow him into the pits, and looks like he does. Beck following in as well, so all three of those drivers needing to respond. That's going to give Dylan the lead of the Grand Prix at the moment, so fantastic from him. Jinnett's going to be in second, Larkin in P3, and as those pit stops work out, Zuidema did decide to go to the medium tires. Let's see where he funnels out. It's going to be P7. So he's about 7 or so seconds behind JXW, who should be going to the end on those hard tires. So from here on out, it is going to be one is anyone who's Arginet, California, or Fuzz going to try and push those mediums all the way to the end. It's a tall order, but who knows? One of them might try it. And then how much can Zuidema gain on the likes of Larkin and JXW, who will not be stopping again. So a lot to watch in that kind of pit stop strategy battle as we go, and then a lot on track to watch as well. Fuzz is still trying to get by California. He just picked up a 3-second time penalty a few corners ago. He's going to be needing to do everything he can to make up for that, including gaining some crucial positions. So he's got his pit window little wrench thing on his MFD, but he might be on a slightly different strategy than what the game will be suggesting to him. This looks like it is one of the closest battles at the moment. Is he going to go up the inside? He is. Just gives California a little bit of a squeeze, but I think it was fair. And he's going to get that move done, so now how much can he extend in this crucial first sector? It's one of the hardest sectors to follow closely because of the natures of the corners, and you can just see there how hard it is for California to stay close to him. Ooh, as California gets on the exit curb there at Spoon, and I mentioned it in qualifying, and I'll mention it again now, that you have to be so careful on the curbs there, because if you're not fully committed and you try to take the wrong curb, it'll send you right around. And that almost happened to California's. Now he's lost a big chunk of time and is going to be out of DRS as well. Crucially for Fuzz, he was able to take advantage of that, and no DRS for California. His teammate JXW does have DRS. Used a little bit of the overtake, and California not fighting that too much. So, yeah, really crucial battle. Looking down, Heron and Bag of Bones. Bag of Bones, one of those drivers who pitted early, who kind of pitted in that second round of safety car pit stops for the hard tires. I imagine we'll be trying to go to the end. Heron, who was in the top 3, top 4 kind of pack soft runners, came up behind him. So he will be, this will be for position and could be for a top 5-ish position. Is he going to try for a move around the outside of the hairpin? He's going to. Leaves just enough space on the inside. How's the traction going to be? And it's much better. He had much better traction on the outside. He was able to apply the power a little bit earlier, and the medium tires helped a lot. So a very nice move from Heron there, keeping it very clean and taking really good advantage of those medium tires. As I said, you got to be brave, and that was a brave move, and a very clean overtake as well. So fair play to him. We have Dylan now, who was leading the race temporarily. He's going to dive into the pits. He says, I have had enough of those mediums. Give me some hard tires. He will run those to the end of the Grand Prix. Looks like he's going to slot out just at the tail end of the top 10. Looks like he might be ahead of Zamagas or just behind Zamagas. So a solid points finish still on the table for him, especially with some guys inside the top 10 needing to box again, with the likes of Zenith, Buzz, California all needing to pit again. So Dylan still could be on for a really solid result here, especially because I know he has penalties, but a lot of other drivers have some penalties as well. And that's going to promote Larkin up into the lead right now. And knowing what his strategy is, I imagine that will be a position that he is going to want to hang on for the next 13, 14 laps. Ginnet just about a second behind, staying in the DRS window. JXW challenging Fuzz. This will be important for JXW not to lose too much time if he has any hopes of either staying ahead as Udema or maybe even challenging Larkin. But ooh, he loses it a little bit there. No bump, as there has been in previous versions of this map, or this track. But still almost losing it, and he's going to just have to be resigned to follow along for one more lap. RC has picked up a 3-second time penalty. So Udema's just going to be watching this battle, and he's in P5 at the moment. Let's see what the gap to the leader is. It's about 6 seconds. This is going to be another one to keep an eye on. With about 12, 13 laps left, if he wants to challenge for the victory, he's going to have to get a move on and really start taking advantage of those medium tires. And he can't do that if he's stuck behind people battling. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on, that gap between Udema and Larkin. But right now, this looks like it's Larkin's race to lose. He's got the gap, he's got the tires, and he's not going to have to make another stop. Looks like it's his race to lose. JXW right now effectively P2, as I anticipate Ginnet and Fuzz will both need to stop again. Could probably try and stretch those tires, but they are going to be definitely nearing puncture territory and not very competitive. So We'll just hang on for a few more laps and see what Buzz and Jim decide to do. I think, if I believe, Jeanette started on mediums and boxed for another set of mediums, potentially. I don't want to check race director and miss anything, but... Zwiedema getting close here as JXW is a little bit sideways coming out of Dunlop, and just smartly thinks better of it. He knows he's got it all to lose right now if he goes for a move and loses a front wing, so he's just biding his time and staying patient. He does currently have the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, which I imagine he will hang on to unless anyone decides to pit and put on some softs. But I don't think Larkin's going to take it from him, certainly. He's got to be so frustrated, stuck in this DRS train. There's just nothing he can do right now. He's got the better tires. He's got everything just right. As JXW going very slowly through the first couple corners. Looks like he maybe thought about a move on Fuzz and then had to back out of it pretty aggressively. And that just quick reactions from Zwiedema to get on the brakes and avoid ruining his own race and the race of JXW potentially. This just goes to show he's got so much more pace and the tires are so much stronger. But this track is really difficult to overtake. That's why I was surprised not to see more people go for the hards under the safety car. He's a long way back going for that move, but he's going to go for it anyway. JXW has better traction on the outside. That's Zwiedema being on the better tires, and he's using his overtake to get ahead. And for JXW, I think he's gonna look back on that and say, I could have defended more aggressively. I could have, I could have used more of my overtake, but Zwiedema's got the pace and the tires at the moment, and it looks like he's going to get another overtake into the chicane. Doesn't even need to use the overtake button for that one, as he's just got so much pace in the moment. Jeanette has come into the pits, Fuzz come into the pits as well, so those medium tires just about over, and Larkin has come into the pits as well. I missed that. Larkin pitting from the lead to go to the soft tires, so very surprising. I did not expect Larkin to come into the pits at all, but he decided to, and he's going to lose a handful of positions here. He's barely inside the top 10. He's only a few seconds, so I don't know why he decided to come in again, and I thought it was his race to lose, but I mean, you can see the advantage he has on those soft tires. He just is able to make overtakes through the S's that I didn't think anyone would be able to make, but that's just handed Zwiedema the win, because Zwiedema is going to say, sweet, I'll just run this to the end. I would have really thought Larkin would have just hung on the hards and run him to the end. I'm kind of baffled by that decision. If anybody has a reason as to why he might have boxed there, let me know, but yeah, I have no idea why he's going into the pits right then. And VSC has come out. Came out after the pit stops, but yeah, I'm just baffled right now. We have the VSC ended now. Larkin still probably will be able to finish on the podium. He's going to get by bag of bones here without too much of an issue. There's still quite a gap to Heron, but the soft tires are so much faster around here. I just have no idea why he would pit from the lead. I really don't. Beck has retired. Don't know what happened to him. I don't know if that was in the pits or not. I don't see his car on track anywhere. I might have missed that one. Ooh, good save there from Segrist. Still have to pass Beck. I'm just curious as to where Beck retired. If he crashed out or if he just retired in the pits. Must have been retired in the pits just based off of where that position change came out. But Zuidema comfortably in the lead right now. He's on the faster tires of the top runners. JXW is in a good spot. He's got a nice 3-second cushion to Barton behind. Barton just has Heron kind of hanging on in his DRS, but Heron is carrying a time penalty. And Larkin is going to be gaining quickly on those two as well. So for Larkin, I don't know, you know, I said it a couple times already, so I won't repeat myself too much, but I have no idea why he would pit from the lead there. Just very, very odd to me. Thought he was just going to sail off and enjoy those last 10 laps, no worries, and take home the win, but I don't know if he had a time penalty or he pushed those tires too hard or what, but we have a yellow flag in Sector 2, looks like one of the McLarens. Ooh, struggling there in the gravel. Kudos to him, I'm sure he's not wanting to rejoin and ruin anyone's race, so good job. But let's see if Heron's going to size up a move here. Doesn't have hardly any battery left. But he also has got that time penalty, so he's going to want to make the overtake happen and then build the gap. Lovely battle here for P6, P7 at the moment, as Jinnit on the softs is just all over the back of Dylan. Drivers on very different strategies. Dylan on hard tires that are basically not going to age from here till the end of the Grand Prix, and Jinnit on fresh softs he's going to be one of the fastest drivers on track right now. And they're both stuck behind Bag of Bones, who's been on those medium or those hard tires since the safety car window. So both of them are going to be feeling like they're losing a lot of time right now. So not much they can do through most of this circuit. It's so difficult to overtake, even with the advantage of the tires that Jinnit has. It's still so challenging to overtake around here. Going to go for a move at the inside of 130R. No, but he is going to go for a move into the chicane. How late will he be on the brakes? Just late enough. Leave space on the inside for Dylan, but Dylan on the hard tires not in a position where he can really battle. He's trying to go quickly after Bag of Bones. He's a long way back. I don't think he can make it happen here. You can see how much later he can brake. You can see just how much more grip he has turning in for these corners. Let's see if he's going to take a risky overtake somewhere. You know Jinnit loves a reverse strategy. We see him run them very often. So this is not an unusual place for him to be in ZOR. On Sundays, where he's on fast tires at the end, because we see him run a reverse strategy quite often. wonder if he'll try it in the spoon here. Not using much overtake, but he will have gotten a lot better exit. Looks like Dylan got a really strong exit as well. They're still pretty single file as they go through there. So I'm going to try a repeat of the move he made last lap, but if we wait for the DRS straight, looks like he's got much better traction coming off the spoon. He's going to duck out of the slipstream momentarily. Just to get out of the throttle there just a little bit. You can see he wasn't able to go flat through 130R just because of the dirty air. I imagine this will be the time. He's got his overtake button. He's got DRS. He'll be using rich mode, I'm sure, and he's going to get that move done not without too much trouble. We move our attention forward to the battle for really what's going to be the final podium spot, or final two podium spots. Zvidema has got a huge lead, but JXW on those hard tires, he's starting to feel it a little bit. He's got two drivers behind on mediums, and then Larkin is just on the back of this train as well on soft tires. So I don't think any of these drivers in a position where they're going to be able to challenge for the victory. I think that's pretty comfortably Zvidema's. I hope I don't give him the commentator's curse by saying that, but it does look like it's pretty comfortably his race, as Larkin is going to be going up the inside of Heron as they approach 130R. He's got that move done before they even get to the corner. So Heron looks like he struggled just a little bit on corner exit there, as Barton has thought about a move on JXW, but thought better of it this lap. JXW is just going to be holding on for dear life and counting down the laps. Let's see what he's all out of battery. Barton, JXW was just put his car right in the middle. I think that's fair from JXW. I mean, Barton will be unhappy because, he's going to be thinking that he had the chance to overtake, and he's going to be extra unhappy now as he's lost 2 positions going into the first sector. So Larkin, just as we described earlier, just seizing the opportunity and forcing drivers into a mistake. But yeah, I think JXW defended well there. He just parked his car kind of in the middle of the track. You could maybe make the argument he broke a little bit earlier. I'm not too sure about that, but he certainly is using his positioning of his car very well. It does not look like he's going to be able to hold off Larkin. I've just seen the grip under acceleration that Larkin has, basically pushing JXW around these corners. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to, that JXW is going to be able to hold him off for the remainder of this race, the remaining three and a bit laps. He's got so much more grip. And he's got the DRS. Heron now, he might be thinking about a move on JXW as well. Barton too far back, but is Heron going to go for it? He thought about it, and JX left the space, but he just had to back out there, and I think that's wise from Heron. The space was there, but it's such a risky move, trying to go up the inside into turn 1 and 2 like that. And just a little bit of a lockup, a little bit of understeer, and you've ruined your race and somebody else's. So, not surprised to see him back out of that. But yeah, now Larkin was able to dispose of JXW pretty comfortably, as we saw there. But 7.5 seconds is too much of a gap, I think. We do have a beautiful 3-way battle, though, for this final podium position, as Barton trying to earn back one of those positions he lost. Is he going to go? He's going to go up the inside. Just about keeps it clean. It was a little bit difficult to tell from that angle, but Heron's going to fight it back, and neither of these drivers wanting to give an inch. It's wheel to wheel as they approach 130R. Both of them not only want P4, but they want a podium. They want to go after JXW. Heron and Barton both have time penalties, so they know if they can get by JXW, they might just be able to extend that gap, but they need to get by him now. Every amount of battery, sure, every last drop of fuel that they can muster. Is Heron going to make a dive? He just is not quite close enough this lap. Let's check their penalty situation real quick. 3 seconds for Heron and for Barton, so I'm sure those will be track limits, and I'm sure those will stay. Those are not usually penalties that are removed by the stewards, but yeah, for JXW, you have to think even now, if he can only give up maybe one of those positions, as Jinnit's off into the gravel at Dunlop, and he has just fallen almost out of the points. He's going to have to get going again on those soft tires if he wants to salvage that point. Let's see who's going to be brave and try and overtake here. Oh, it's an incredible. This is what we love to see. Tight battles, drivers on different strategies, all fighting for position, all fighting for a podium. Ooh, way outbroke! Oh no! Barton totally outbroke himself, and he goes into the side of JXW. And he's not only lost a shot at a podium, but he might have lost a handful of positions. He has an awkward rejoin there, and he's probably going to lose P7 here to Fuzz, I would imagine. Let's see if Fuzz is going to make the move. Yep. He leaves the space, runs a little wide, picks up another time penalty. Fuzz has got the position. So just totally outbroke himself and went into the side of JXW. Thankfully, JXW didn't look like his car was too unsettled by it. It looks like he was able to steady himself pretty well. Heron just trying to do anything here. Anything to get by JXW, force him into a mistake, force him into a time penalty. I have no idea how many warnings JXW has, but I'm sure that's going to be something that he's thinking about through these final couple corners of keep it within track limits. The last thing he wants to do is allow Heron to make an overtake and then immediately pick up a time penalty. So I'm sure Heron is going to lick the stamp and send it here to the final chicane. He just about gets it slowed down. JXW doing all he can as Heron is spun and he's gone into the pit lane on the final corner. What's he gonna do? He's losing all kinds of positions now, and it's just spinning up his tires. He needs to get it into reverse, and maybe he's gonna have to enter the pit lane, and he maybe will get P10. I don't know. But Heron, final corner, going in, he's going to pick up a time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. And he should still maybe get P10. I don't know. That's one of the most bizarre finishes I've ever seen. And he drops out of the points. So Heron, who was battling for a podium for so many laps, falls out of the points just like that. Wow, what a crazy finish to this race. Congratulations to Zwiedema. He won that race pretty comfortably after Larkin made the pit stop. Larkin recovered and finished P2. I still don't know why he chose to pit when he did. Maybe he thought Zwiedema had another stop to make. Maybe he thought it was a two-stop. Maybe he wanted the challenge. I don't know. But he's going to have to be resigned with P2 in this race. And JXW making the risky call to pit for the hard. Well, I didn't think it was risky, but made the gutsy call to pit for the hards. Under the safety car, took them the entire rest of the race. He goes from P9 to a podium. Great race from him. Zamoglis, good job coming home P4. He had he was caught up with Miami on lap 1. Dylan doesn't, and Fuzz going from outside the points to 11th and 12th. Then Barton, Jinnit, California, and Bag of Bones rounding off the points. Then we've got RC, Heron, the other finishers. Then Segrist, Beck, Siku, and Miami all failing to finish today. So a really exciting race, and a really crazy ending. I don't know if I've ever remember such a chaotic final couple corners, except for maybe Baku this season in Tier 1, but an absolutely unprecedented finish to a race. I've never seen that happen before, and yeah, I have no idea what that's going to do for the standings, but it's going to make the last few rounds that much more exciting. So congratulations to Zuidema and Larkin and JXW for finishing on the podium. Next week we'll be back with Circuit of the Americas at USA next week, which will be, I'm sure, another really exciting race. So we will see you guys next week, same time, same place, for round 19. So we'll see you guys next week.